So you've finally decided that you're going to use a webinar to sell your thing. And now you're getting a little bit stuck because you got to the phase where you're supposed to create the slides for your webinar presentation and you're getting a little stressed out. Well, I'm going to dive over to my computer and show you how to create webinar slides in a stress-free way that will both engage the listener and sell your product. Let's dive in.
There's basically two parts to any kind of sales mechanism, right? There's number one is the messaging, what you're saying, how you're selling. And number two is the look and the feel and the branding. And we really subscribe to the idea that both matter. And so we create templates that are both really gorgeous and highly branded by professionals that are also really smart, strategic, and are great sales tools. So that's kind of that's our jam. That's where the two kind of worlds come and collide and make amazingness. So we actually have templates that you can buy that are ready to go for like webinar slide decks. And what you need to know about these is they're actually based on collections that like we have fully built out. So these collections go with a whole funnel design. They have social media graphics, there's ad graphics, and then of course there's the webinar slide decks. So there's a whole suite, like a matching suite of a collection that you guys can grab. So I just want to show you what it looks like. I'm just going to basically pretend that you purchased, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on the other side. So you just go to funnelgorgeous.com. If you scroll down, you'll see that we have all the designs here towards the bottom, and so you can just click the design that you like, or you can of course explore around. I'm going to click into geometric and you'll see everything that the geometric collection has. There's the templates, there's the webinar funnel template. So if you want to actually have a webinar funnel on that side, and then there's the membership areas, and there's the webinar slide deck presentation for PowerPoint and Google Slides. This is what I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to move over into our membership area and show you. So like, let's pretend that you just purchased and now we are inside of this area. So there's a couple things when you go in here, there's a whole editing tutorial inside here, and that is going to show you guys exactly how to change all of the things, how to change out the font colors, how to change out the color, the image assets, all that stuff. So I don't want to go over that today. I don't want to bore you guys with that stuff because that stuff's all in here. We have a whole library of videos, but I want to show you what the actual slide deck templates look like. And so you can kind of get an idea of what yours should look like. This is just a PDF version, but there's the Google Slides, you'll see PowerPoint, or there is the PDF downloaded version. What you do is you would change these to your colors and you would change them out for your messaging and your whole program. So it's basically plug and play, but you need to understand the strategy behind it. So this is a presentation. When you're selling through presentation, there's a sense of something they walk away with. So they're exchanging their time with you to hang out with you. All of us are super busy, right? And so it's a big deal for us to spend this much time with you. And so you're exchanging something for that time, and you're not just straight selling. So usually there's a value play on the other side. So it's coming up with some kind of content that actually teaches and informs and helps the person, whether they buy from you or not. So this is a whole strategy, obviously, of the webinar. We dive further into this in other videos, but I just want to say that ahead of time because this is really like a teaching tool. It is a presentation, but we're actually giving, value to the person who's watching. And so that's kind of how you're going to use these slides. And you could do it the way that I'm doing this exact video right now, where you can see your face and you're actually teaching, you're presenting, or of course, you can do it just verbally. But the good thing about having slides is that we are visual people, as just human beings are visual people. And so when we see written words, we have a greater understanding. So it's not the same thing as just standing up on a stage and kind of talking or just talking to someone. When you actually have visuals, it increases your professionalism factor, but it also increases the clarity of the message and understanding. And so that's why we always say you need to have these. Not everyone uses slides, but we use them and they tend to be really, really successful. So you can see here in the slides that we sell, there is like a flow here. So I want to go through these really quickly just so you can kind of see. And you can see there's 65 slides here, so I'm not going to go too much into them. So there'd be like a title slide, how to do this incredibly awesome thing without having to do any of the things that you hate. You'll have a hook or a story or a quote, something that's using statistics, curiosity, something that really pulls the viewer in. Just like, did you know that? Blah, blah, blah. Right? And so let's dive in. Then you're going to pull the meaning out of the story for your viewer. You're going to expand on the quote in the story. Who here can relate? You might say it's not your fault. The idea here is to draw the statistic or quote back to them. So you see that this is really a visual process, but it's also a sales process where we're kind of talking through the idea of what we're about to talk about. And then here there might be some testimonials that you kind of pull in about how this journey was great for them, right? And so you can kind of see with the prompts here. Our goal here today is they want to know what to expect from the workshop, what they will know, believe, or understand differently by the end, and then using bullet points to make it easier, acknowledging the gap. They want to be in a different situation, but they don't know how to get from here to there. Show that you understand their frustration. And so you see here, all of the design is so awesome in here. It's all like laid out perfectly. And I'm looking at the PDF version, but if you see, I'll show you guys in a second, the actual slide version so you can kind of see how this rolls out. Introducing yourself, being honest about your journey. You talk about your story and different results that you have, your turning point that made a difference for you, some objections. You can kind of see how we're walking through the sales process as we go. Here's where we introduce the product, talking more about the product. But you see a lot of these slides are very similar. So there's only really like a handful of slides of design, but they're just kind of reused in a way. And that creates a familiarity, that creates a consistency in branding. But it also makes it easy too, to like if you were to change out the colors and stuff like that, you'll have those exact designs there. All right, so now I popped over to Google Slides. So you could use PowerPoint or Keynote or any of those guys, the actual presentation softwares, but we use Google Slides, and really, it's free. It's awesome. We love it. For all of the newer webinar slide decks, we do have those in vector format. So you will be able to, on those newer ones, just click and change out the colors. You can see here, you just go and change out the colors to anything that you want. And that's how you can go through, and you can see these are all here. When you go to presenting those, you'll have this little slide deck thing where you can see your notes. No one else can see this, right? When you're actually presenting, and you can click through here as you're presenting. This is not rocket science. This is kind of plug and play. You can use the actual templates that we've created for you and just kind of put in your content. Or if you'd like something a little bit more in depth, we do have an entire course on webinars called Webinar Gorgeous that you can check out. But honestly, I feel like some people really try to make these really complicated and this whole process is complicated, but it's just not, especially when you have a template that makes it plug and play for you and really kind of hard to mess up.
So now you are feeling super comfortable with your webinar slides and you are ready to rock this thing out. Make sure you watch our next video where we're going to share with you how to host your next or maybe even your very first live webinar presentation. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.